facing the police every single day.
New at 6, take a look at this as parents in Phillipsburg upset after they say random drug test at the middle school went too far. You can see here, this is the top of a child's head, a sizable chunk of hair missing from the student's head.
Jacob Albrock is in the newsroom. And Jacob, what is the reaction from the school district?
Well, Mike and Melissa, Eyewitness News has been able to contact several parents who say their kids came home from school last week with notable spots on their head missing hair. I want to show you. They kind of describe it as the size of a quarter. It's really the size of a pen width, so you can imagine that size right there when it's supposed to be about the size of a pencil. The superintendent tells us the school does notify parents the day of a drug test, and parents are invited to be there if they want. The district started this type of testing last year after parents were concerned about middle and high school students using drugs. They requested the hair follicle testing because it can show whether someone's been using drugs back 90 days. The superintendent says the company usually takes 100 to 120 strands, again, about the diameter of a pencil. He apologized for what happened.
I'm not going to throw the company under the bus or the board or anybody else. I'm the superintendent. What happens here is on me. I take full responsibility. I apologize to those kids and those parents, and we're taking steps to make sure that doesn't happen again.
So again, we're talking about the difference of maybe a quarter size to about the pencil. The superintendent says the district will look at other drug testing companies to use. We've called the drug testing company tonight, and we are still waiting for a response.
Parents outraged after school shaved large patches of hair from kids' heads to drug test them. Students in a Kansas middle school were humiliated after officials removed large chunks of their hair to comply with the school's drug test policy. By Matt Agarist, October 26, 2018. Phillipsburg, Kansas. The parents of children at a middle school in Kansas are likely regretting their decision to allow the school to drug test their students this week after their children came home with large patches of missing hair. The hair was used in the random drug testing process of 11 to 14-year-old children. The school district is now on the defensive after multiple students complained to their parents about the hack jobs they received as the state searched their bodies for illegal substances. Hopefully, this situation allows the parents realize the error of their ways and take note of what happens when you ask the state to parent your children. Superintendent Mike Gower spoke to KWCH and said the district recognized the problem of officials cutting large sections of children's hair out and is addressing it. According to KWCH, Gower said the district started random drug testing last year after parents voiced concern about middle and high school students using drugs. They requested the hair follicle testing because it can show whether someone has been using drugs back 90 days. Gower said the company usually takes 100 to 120 strands of hair, the diameter of a pencil. Instead of a tiny bit of hair, however, kids had large sections of their hair removed to test for drugs, a frightening notion indeed. View image on Twitter. Michelle Ross. Heavy checkmark. At Michelle Ross KSN. Questions tonight after drug testing of Kansas students had them coming home with shaved spots on their heads. Join me tonight at 6 on at KSN News to find out more. 6:23 p.m., October 23, 2018. See Michelle Ross's other tweets. Twitter adds info and privacy. According to Kansas.com, the district requires students and parents sign a student drug testing policy at the beginning of each school year if they want to participate in or attend school-sponsored activities, according to the consent form. Gower said this is the district's second year with that policy. The school board is now apologizing to the students and the parents for this sickening display. "I'm not going to throw the company under the bus or the board or anybody else," said Gower. "I'm the superintendent. What happens here is on me. I apologize to those kids and those parents. We're taking steps to make sure it doesn't happen again." The state playing the role of parent in this situation is definitely a slippery slope. Making sure kids don't take drugs that can harm them is the job of a parent. Parents relying on the state to do this for them are surrendering their responsibilities and embarking down a dark path. If schools are serious about keeping their students from abusing drugs, as the ACLU points out, then they should listen to the experts, to the National Education Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, who all say that one of the best ways to keep kids off drugs is to get them involved in school and extracurricular activities. Instead of putting up barriers like drug testing, schools should engage students in meaningful activities. What's more, there is no evidence showing that randomly drug testing students does anything to deter drug use, and it does nothing to address what's causing kids from doing drugs in the first place. As this case illustrates, it only serves to humiliate children as their hair is removed. Proponents of these measures claim that students are getting into drugs at an increasing rate. However, one aspect of this whole situation that is often overlooked is the fact that many students take drugs because public school is so traumatizing and torturous. Many students seem to take drugs simply to make the day go faster while they are in a place that closely resembles a prison. If young adults are taking drugs in their teenage years, and it becomes damaging or unhealthy, there is obviously a reason and a root cause for their drug abuse. This is not a problem that can be solved with punishments and lectures, but rather, is a problem that can only be solved by targeting the depression, anxiety, and pressure that young adults experience in this society. If you are a student or parent who wishes to fight this most invasive policy, you can. As the ACLU points out, any student can express his or her discomfort with drug testing. Depending on the laws in your state, you not only have the right to vocally oppose drug testing, but you may also have a right to legally challenge drug testing in your school. In order for a school to implement a drug testing policy, there must usually be reasonable suspicion that you, as an individual, are using drugs. Unless you are an athlete, the fact that some students may be using drugs may not be enough to allow a public school to drug test you. The implications of a government violating the sanctity of a child's body to search for illegal substances are grave, to say the least. Imagine the horrid society that would result from children who consider government claiming the right to know the content of their bodies as normal. A brave new world, indeed.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I am using any video here under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.